everyone, it's Maury Curtis Dunbar here at Painted Studio, and we are back working on new projects, or working on similar projects that we started before and moving on to the next stage with them. I am here and we are going to be working with our fabulous Old World finishing paint and working on the table that you saw me work on last week. And then we're going to just talk about what's going on around here at the studio. So we're going to dig right in. And as you can see, hey Terry, nice to see you with us. I painted it pink before. We're going to aim the camera down a little more towards the table. And my tripod's got a mind of its own today, so let's see how long things stay where they're supposed to be before they go flying off. Okay, so we've got Old World finishing paint in coal. So you can see right in there, it's dark. I've had this can for a while, so it's pretty thick. Not a big deal. I gotta stir the end a little bit, the top of it a little bit. Wipe off the extra on my apron, because that's what I do. And then I'm going to wet my brush. This is the best way I have found to put on thicker paint. If I don't want to pour a whole lot of it out and thin it down and do all that, I just nice and wet, and it makes the paint spread on super creamy. Not a problem. Or I could have poured it out and thinned it with water, but I didn't feel like doing that because I didn't open the can before we went live, and well, you know, I'm live. Who wants to see me thinning stuff with water? But I could thin this, up to 50% with water, no problem. It's still a good product. You use it as a wash. And as we've discussed with Old World finishing paint, it doesn't have a huge amount of binders in it. So when using it, let's see, I keep getting weird notifications. Let's see. Hey June, nice to see you with us. Now, if I'm not answering your questions, the camera's pointed at the table and so is my face, so I can't always see what's going on. I do come back and answer all the questions. So this Old World finishing paint the color is called Coal. Like all other Old World finishing paints that you've seen me work with, it does not have a super lot of binders in it, so it must be top coated to be stable and permanent on the surface. But that light bond that this has also is what allows us to distress, which is very important with Old World finishing paint. That's one of the major reasons you want to use it, besides its wonderful chalky appearance, is that the distressing levels are really simple with it, as opposed to some things where you have to practically break your arm to get a little scuff in it. This stuff sands like velvet. It wet distresses really easily. No heavy back-breaking work on it. As you can see, I'm just turning it around so I can get to paintable areas. Now, when you saw me make this pink that we're doing here out of the tint base. We have lots of other colors. There's a color chart available for you on our website, paintedstudio.com. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was trying to remember. My mind's jumping about 6 steps ahead because it's been one of those kind of days. When you need a dark color, Faux Effects and I both suggest you purchase the darkest color closest to what you're trying to achieve, because to get Old World finishing paint dark in deep rich colors takes a lot of pigment, and I promise you, having made my blacks before they came out with the colors, you use a lot, and it can change the consistency of the paint when you add that much pigment to it. So I always tell people, buy the dark. If you tint all the lights you want, but buy the dark colors. and that will save you a lot of trouble. All right, so we're going to put 2 coats of this on here because I want a really good opaque layer of black before I go into the next step. So I'm going to let that dry and I'll move it to the side. And I don't know if you can catch this, but if you see right here, it's all really shiny and wet. We're already starting to see dry areas. You see how flat that's gotten back there, no shine? It's already starting to dry because the moisture is now not only coming out of it this way, but it's absorbing and going through the lower layers and drawing out all the moisture. All right, I'm going to move this because I do have to turn it over. I'm going to paint this. I'm going to paint this just solid black because I don't intend to do any distressing there. That's why you don't see any color, but I will do some distressing wherever I've placed the pink. And I still have the base to paint. And I'm setting this on top of a can of paint, but if you remember, there was no paint in the center of this. We're going to be doing some beautiful decoupage and some rollers and some all kinds of cool stuff in the center of that. So I actually have a plan for this. I don't know how it'll come out, but I do have a plan. Also, if you're local to Brookfield or in the area, we at Painted Studio are looking for interns. Specifically, what we're looking to do is bring in high school and college age students who are looking to fill independent study credits and want some job experience. I will be teaching you, whoever the intern is, all kinds of information and techniques with our products. You'll be creative, doing all sorts of fun, creative things. Yes, there will be some labor. Just like I pack boxes, interns will help doing everything, learn all aspects of what we're doing here. We're looking to pay it forward. I had great internships that I got school credit for when I was in high school, and our local high schools around here have similar programs. Unfortunately, getting hold of the high schools right now, because they're all figuring out the paths back into school, they're overwhelmed. So I'm reaching out directly to the community and hoping that there might be a kid who loves to paint and loves to do creative stuff, who wants an afternoon or two here with me, painting, creating, helping me pack boxes, all kinds of fun stuff. Want to do the sandwich board sign? You love to paint stuff? Great. Give me some ideas. Let's go for that. You want to paint a piece of furniture that I don't have specified for a client? Sure, let's go work on it. Let me teach you how to do that from the ground up. Really, I want to pay forward some of the wonderful internships that I had when I was young, and they are what got me into college and got me some really special jobs. So anything I can do like that, I'd love to do it. We're not hiring per se. I'm not bringing in staff. This is for kids who need school credits. We don't need staff yet. I have a lot of staff, and I'm related to them. So that is the plan. Unfortunately, I posted on one of the local groups, and somebody decided to take it like I was looking to string children up and eat them for dinner. Couldn't be further from the truth. But I'm hoping to find a way to find a great young person who needs some study credits, who also would love to work in the creative fields. I know when I was looking for something, it was not easy to find internships in the arts. Really, it wasn't. So I'm trying to come up with something to help kids so they get some experience. And really, I don't care if you have experience. This is not an experience required thing. If you're a kid who's just interested in paint and painting and running small businesses or anything like that, I'm open to having you in here. I just need a kid who's willing to show up and willing to do some work and then get credits for school, and we can have some fun and do some creative stuff. My own son has limited interest in what I do, although he does like coming here, loves coming here and painting his models. He's not going to be in the furniture painting biz or anything else. So hopefully, something good will come out of that. And the Looney Tunes decided that exploiting children will not feel that way anymore. So I'm just going to put that aside, and I'm going to set this over here on a box. Hang on a sec. Okay, that's going to dry. I'm going to come back for a second, look and see if there were any questions. There probably aren't. Hey, Maddie and Ela, nice to see you. Good to see all of you. Julia. Hey, Chip, nice to see you on here too. Let's see. And Denise. Gosh, all of you, I really appreciate all of you being on here with me today. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Nobody seems to have any questions. Let me bring well, somehow I turned the commenting off for me to see it, but that's just as well because my back is going to be to the camera again. All right. And as you can see, it's just one smooth, even coat of Old World finishing paint in kohl over the whole thing. If you missed how I prepped this, I had to strip down the whole thing. It was a nightmare. Then we primed with a 2-pound cut of shellac, and the video that showed me priming it gave a full description of what a 2-pound shellac cut is versus other shellacs. And for those of you who don't know, we actually have a YouTube channel. So every one of these lives that I do here, and you might be looking for it later on, you can go to YouTube. Painted Studio has a YouTube channel. So you can go and find all of these videos there. I'm usually about a week and a half behind posting. Shocker, I always have too many things going on. I'm gonna paint those fingerprints out that I just put in because I'm so smart. Let's put this over here. And here's the base. All right, so we're going to turn the base upside down because, again, let me angle this up so you can see what I'm doing a little better. Sorry, we're on that dopey goop snack for the tripod, and I adjust it, it swings back. I adjust it, it swings back. So what I'm doing here, again, painting the underside first, because it's easier to clean up if there's any dribbles if I do that. The only thing I'm not going to paint the underside of first, well, I actually probably could because it'll be dry by the time I turn it over. I wasn't going to paint the bottom of the feet, but they should be dry by the time I need to turn this over, so I don't know what I was worried about. Now, you might notice when you brush on Old World finishing paint, it tends to look a little awkward, clunky, chunky, not smooth when you brush it on. It's the nature of the paint. It's a mineral-based, almost clay-style paint, just like other chalk paints, and it's thick and it can be depositing a lot of stuff, but because it's got that great ability to sand, we can turn it into a super smooth finish, no problem. And I'm coming back down here so I can see. Hey everyone, I'm here. You know, you've been seeing like my hands, my knees, my belly, some probably all kinds of less than attractive body parts. All right, let me hold this so it doesn't flip over. And you can see the bottom part turns independently of the top here. I don't know if this was like originally a game table. I mean, I didn't see anything that looked like, you know, game boards and stuff when I stripped it down, but it would be ideal for something like that if that was the kind of thing you were into. Because the table is designed to flip up, but the top here also turns around so you could view game boards from all kinds of directions, I guess. I don't know, it's an interesting table. I've seen tables like it, but not usually with the rotating top. It's almost like a fire screen table, but usually those are embroidered in the center, not really a table, but more of a screen. I don't know. It's an interesting table. So you can see I'm sort of jabbing my bristles into all of this carved stuff here. But then I'm going to go over it and smooth it out. And what that does is it gets all the paint into all the awkward spots while it's still wet, and then lets me smooth it out when it's dry. I know nothing more exciting than watching somebody paint black over pink, but this is what furniture painting can be. It can be just several layers getting to the point where you get to do the pretty stuff. And I'm sure many of you have heard this too, that I get, oh, it must be so fun to paint things that are pretty all day. Well, that is the fun part. The less fun part, but equally as critical, is this kind of stuff. Not so pretty, but it's a job that has to get done. Let's make sure I got all of this here. I don't know about you, but I had some really, I mean, this is, obviously it's on my mind today because that's some of the stuff I was working on. But I got really lucky. I had some cool internships. And one of them was I worked for public television for a couple of weeks, for about a month on a winter break. I'd go in a couple times a week, and they'd have me doing the coolest stuff. I'm sure to them it was like nitpicky stuff, and it was before we had computers that you could do things like Photoshop. So I would sit and with an X-Acto knife cut things like a ballerina out of a photograph so that they could mount it on a black screen and use it for their ads. I mean, some of my work was like in their advertising for years. And it was just stuff, and of course I love sitting and doing fiddly stuff, so that was like happiness. And I get those kind of projects. I get, like, you know, the company Christmas card, everybody's signature had to be printed out and put on there, and I would be the person who would be with the razor blade cutting out the knives and putting everybody's signatures in a place in the card so it was legible and made a cool pattern. I did all kinds of stuff with internships. I had so much fun with that one. Of course, it was very glamorous going and working in Manhattan, because that's where I grew up, just outside of New York City. So it was very glamorous and exciting to be working in New York City as a, you know, I think I was a college senior, or high school senior, sorry. I'm trying to pull it back from my memory when I did this. I want to say I was a high school senior, but I could have been a college freshman. Honest to God, I don't remember that clearly. But I do remember the internship, and I had so much fun. And, you know, public television in New York used to have big silent auctions on TV and stuff. So I got to be a part of doing some stuff with that for their fund drives. It's so much fun doing stuff. Like things that nobody else thought was fun, I like doing. So, of course, you know, I was a weird kid then, still a weird kid now. Anybody else have any really interesting and fun internships anywhere? So you can see I'm getting into spots. Sorry, I got paying attention to what I was doing and stopped talking. Oh no. Even my husband laughs. He's like, how come the only time you stop talking is at work? I said, because I don't see you all day and I like to irritate you. Right, honey, if you're watching? You're still watching me? I think I gotta get in, check the inside here, see if I missed anything. And then what I missed, I'll see when I flip it over. Girl. There we go. And this is a great way to see what you've missed. So up top here, obviously I still have to do the top. We're getting there. Now, clearly all of this is going to need a second coat. Now, I'm not going to do a second coat on the underside on the feet and stuff, but I will do second coats wherever it's necessary so it's completely and 100% opaquely black, because wherever I don't distress, I want the black to be flawless. This angle, sitting like this, I can see what I've missed on the spindles on the inside. A lot of times I don't even need paint as much as I just need to move what's already on the surface to hit the spot I missed. I don't know if you all are familiar with the phrase stretch the paint. But what that means is, you know, don't just keep dipping back into the pot. You have more paint on your brush than you realize, and so you want to move the paint across as much of the surface as you can before it's too dry to brush anymore and you ruin the finish. Set coat, old world finishing paint, all the same thing. You got to make sure you move the paint across the surface. Don't just glob it on and hope it'll level out. You're going to have to move it around, spread it, force it into all the crevices that need to get filled. Don't be afraid of your paint. And I know that sounds silly to say. Okay, I'm going to angle this down so you can see me working on the legs. I know that Ignore my step stool, my very chic step stool. I was up on top of the shelves getting stuff earlier, and of course I didn't move it out of camera shot. I've had that step stool for about 20 years. It's my favorite step stool. It's my baby. I'm just kidding. No, it's one of the few ladders that haven't gotten stolen from me by various contractors. So I kind of keep it around. It's a reminder of the step stool. It was too messy to be stolen. I don't know about you, but I've had stuff as a professional on job sites when I was still doing walls and stuff like that, you know, come in with my own tools. And usually I'm the only one working because painting is messy and I have to spread out, and I need other guys not to be around to ding up what I'm working on. Every once in a while, though, I get on a job and they're working in another part of the house and I'm working in mine. Let's see, one job, I had every radio I showed up with stolen, including one I specifically painted pink so they wouldn't steal it. I billed the owner of the house after the second time the radio got stolen. I told her that if it gets stolen again, I'm billing for all 3 ladders and she can bill her contractor. Fortunately, she was a friend and understood. And yeah, she billed her contractors for all of my stolen radios. She doesn't like women being taken advantage of on job sites. You know, I think we've all had brushes and ladders. I walked in one day and some electricians had my scaffold and my ladders rigged up for their job. I started taking them down and they came back from whatever they were doing and started yelling at me. I just told them to go buy their own ladders. They want to do their job, buy their own equipment. Oh yeah. I've had some very interesting experiences on job sites. Oh gosh. Can't think of all the places I've worked, all the things I've done. I'm sure you all have had some very creative experiences. I know I'm not the only one. I have to say, I think I've only ever managed to have one contract or one client not pay me. And that was when I was very young. I smartened up very fast. Did have one client who, when I had my business in the state of New Jersey at the time, and this gal found my studio, hired her, got me, I don't know, somebody referred her to me, found me, and I came out, I bid a job for her, she gave me a deposit check, I said, great. She said, you know, and I think she gave me the check in October and asked me not to deposit the check until December. And I said, okay, no problem. So I deposited the check in December, a week before the job was starting. Again, when I was younger and didn't know better to say that check needs to clear now. But I deposited the check and it bounced. And turns out she had written a check on a closed account and did it knowingly because the account had been closed for months, longer than I had the check. Yeah, I found out I checked with the bank on that. And she got very unhappy that A, I deposited the check, and that B, basically A, that I deposited the check. And told me she never gave me permission to deposit the check. I said, what do you think a check is for? And she said, well, you have to come over here now and start work for me tomorrow, and I'll give you a check when I feel like it. And I said, no, I don't. And I just had to eat the loss on that one. Pay, you know, the bounce check fees and stuff like that. I just had to eat it because I wasn't working for her. She got very angry that I wouldn't return the phone calls. But I'm sorry, if you bounce a check to me before the job starts, I'm not working for you. I'm sure you all have had some of those crazy moments happen. All right, so now everything has a coat of black on it. It will dry for, well, I could start putting another coat of black on it right now, except that it's 5:45 and I want to go home and have some dinner. So I think, let me see if I can get my comments back on. I kind of knocked them off and I don't know how to get them back on now. They won't go back on probably because I got stuff on my hands and touching things is not working. Nope, that didn't do it. All right, I will go back. I will read the comments. Any questions that you all had, I will answer, no problem. If you have questions about the internship and want information to send to somebody you know who's in our area, please leave me a message. Don't post about it here in the comments. Message the studio, because that's how I'm handling all of this. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I was trying for 2 today, but as you can tell, it's been another one of those days. First live is at 5 o'clock, but I got in for you guys. I feel bad when I miss you all. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Sprinkle the video anywhere you feel like it. We are going to be starting our contest information coming out next week. We are all, I'm doing this right now because we're already halfway through September. We're already almost to October, everybody. So again, end of September, we're doing a new contest and it's going to be fun. Tomorrow I'll start giving you some more details about it. All right, everybody, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.